Warp on down to the Mack Cast Pro Wrestling Tee Store and get your 8-bit on with the brand new Retro Mack Attack tee. Get an extra life when you buy any t-shirt and get a copy of Mack Attack, the Mack-umentary for free. Available now only at www.prowrestlingtees.com/MackCast.
Ladies and gentlemen, currently broadcasting, accompanied by trainee number 1 from France. He is Monster Mack.
Holy frickin' crap, everybody! And welcome to another edition of the Mack Cast. Can you believe it? Everyone thought a new episode was never gonna come out, trainee, but we got a new one out.
Why did they think that? Like, we've been banging. I mean, we did miss the whole month of April, huh?
That's true, but it's a sneak tactic, dude. I tell everyone that it's never gonna come back that way. It's like, you know,
Building up the suspense.
shit, it's back. I can't believe it. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, Jay Frost, re-download and stitch it just to listen to this episode.
Shout out to Jay Frost. That's how you get the downloads, brother. He must have heard that it was gone. It was never coming back. And here it is, baby. We opened up the Mack Gate doors, and we brought down a very special guest. And we would have had him a lot earlier, but we had no interest because we're boys with him. You know what I mean? It might be a little weird, but he's down here.
Like we have had 50. This is our 59th episode. I feel like at least 53 of them are our friends. Like,
I'm your friend, so I don't want to do your show.
yeah, I mean, that's the Monster Mack logic, of course.
But now I do want to do your show. Ha ha, trick.
But we opened up the gates. He came down the long driveway past the swimming pool here at the Mack-Mansion, and he's in the house, baby, or in the mansion, I should say, because it's so big.
Mansion.
Right, we're in the house that's inside of the mansion.
Yeah, it's
House Party 3. Mack Attack.
That's the best house party ever. But yeah, you know, usually we do Mac news and all that jiggity jive, but he went right into like, hey man, we got this guy here. And he didn't want to do it at first, and now he does, and here he
Sick,
is.
so I'm like the special guest that never wanted to be.
I tried, in all truthfulness, we tried to get you to be on episode 50. What are you rubbing my pants for? What the hell was that?
He was rubbing it for you.
He put his hand straight in my pocket. That was real strange.
Well, you got any gold doubloons in there?
No, not any doubloons.
Okay.
But we tried to get you guys for episode 50, and, you know, you just weren't having it. What are you doing?
Who's you guys?
You and your tag team partner of the M1nute Men. We tried to have M1nute Men as episode 50.
Oh, train wreck. Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys, you initially agreed, and then something happened where you got mad at me.
I think you made me mad.
I made you mad. And
What did you do?
No, I'm not doing your.
I'm very irrational. I can't help it.
And,
I'm
so
sorry.
you got
I
real
do
pissed,
love you.
You got real pissed, and you. So here we are at episode 59. It took me 9 more episodes to convince you to come on.
It's very symbolic, huh?
9? Yeah. It's slightly symbolic, I guess.
Slightly. For me.
The Mack Cast got shut down completely. Wink, wink. And people were like, where is it? It's gone. I can't believe it.
What do you
mean?
mean?
And then you, Devin Blaze, you decided to do the Mack Cast, and we had to start it up all over again. And here it is, baby.
Oh, okay.
You brought it back, so.
Yeah, that could only
It's-
make sense.
Download that shit. It's very special.
The spaghetti's hot, boys. The spaghetti is hot.
The spaghetti's hot, and he knows because he ate 3 bowls before he came here.
You said you
calm
wouldn't
his
tell.
nerves.
You said you wouldn't tell, you dirty harlot.
Legitimately, when you were late, Monster Mack, when we were outside waiting to get let into the gates, because you won't give me the passcode.
Don't you tell.
He sitting in my car, and he's like, man, I ate 3 bowls of spaghetti to calm my nerves before the show. I was like, I don't even know how to respond to that.
Little known Devin Blaze fact is that at least 3 bowls of spaghetti before anything that could give you any bit of anxiety. That's what I do to battle that. I'm not a doctor, but I know best.
There's a lot of protein in there, too, right?
Yeah, I put a lot of meat. There's a lot of branched chain amino acids in the red meat, so it's really good for me.
I remember back in my Yankee pro wrestling days when I used to, like, when I first started going to wrestling training, my brother back in France, he gave me a ring and was like, you got to go to Papa Gino's, eat that pasta. You got to have some pasta at Papa Gino's. So It was strongly suggested.
What do you
for
mean
my-
he gave you a ring? Like he put a ring on your finger and said, "Go to Papa Gino's and
get the
he
wrestling?
gave you a wrestling ring and he said,
Backyard.
and you ate pasta in it.
Inside of his.
That's genius. I love it.
Yeah, it's a little genius. So, folks, if you haven't figured it out on this episode of the Mack Cast, in the house with us, the funny man, Devin Blaze.
Yes, that is me, the funny man, Devin Blaze. You have me, and I have graced you. Now, what will you grace me with?
We got some questions. We got some stories. We got a little bit of Mac news before we get into anything, which the Mac news is on 5/12, Friday, Showcase Pro Wrestling in Millville at the Millville Elementary School.
I might be there.
Yes, indeed. And we're going to win them Showcase Tag Team Pro Wrestling Tag Team belts, baby. And they're going to rename the town Mackville. It's true.
Sick.
Did you speak with the mayor?
It's for 1 day only, though. It's only for 1 day to celebrate our victory.
1 day, Mackville.
Yeah. Only they're going to rename the town.
And so also on 5/19, we have...
Oh.
RWA? I was just joking. We have RWA in their new building in Pawtucket.
Renegade Wrestling Alliance.
We'll talk a little bit about RWA with you, I'm sure.
Okay.
And on 5/20, NWW Extreme in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. And I think that's all the news I got for now. I mean, I don't want to give you guys too much.
14.
I can keep dropping dates. 5/28, the Sully Show in Providence.
Sully
Pro
Banger.
Wrestling.
You want to check us out at Showcase Pro Wrestling. You can check out the Wrestling Professor's YouTube page. Shout out to him. See some Mack Attack and Showcase Pro Wrestling action.
How about MasaMac.net? You know what I mean? That's how you see some MasaMac Pro.
There's a link.
Yeah, man. I take the matches,
He
I put
says
them on the
that's out
tag
there.
thing, you know.
training.
MasaMac.net.
My training.
It was real weird.
My train.
My training. My training. So, Blaze, you got any Mac news? Or
Yeah, no, I don't know what your news is. I'm sorry. So 5/12, Showcase Pro, Millville. Am I correct about that?
You are.
And that's about it. That's my version.
Wrestling Professor. Check it out. Showcase Pro Wrestling.
Showcase Pro Wrestling
On
Professor.
YouTube, yep. So thanks so much for coming down, dude.
Yeah, not a problem.
Much
Happy to be
appreciated.
here.
Finally giving the okay.
Honestly, I'm very bipolar, so, I'm on an upswing right now. I'm ready to take on just all comers, basically.
So we're gonna kick it off with a good one right away. For the past, let's call it 7 years, you've been in a tag team, the Minutemen, and Devin Blaze has become a solo wrestler. The funny man has branched off on his own, and things are about to get hilarious.
Things are about to get hilarious. You definitely hit me with the hard question right away. So I'm definitely doing my own thing right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what are the plans for the funny man?
Basically, I'm just trying to repackage myself the best way I know how. I feel like I've reinvented myself a few times.
Yeah, definitely a few times. I wanted to go over those because these are conversations that we have in normal life. Like we talk about
All the time.
Yeah, how you went from like party boy
Yup.
to like Catman,
Yup.
and then you were like a
I had a-
futuristic space-time traveler.
Yup. I was from the future, and I had a shiny hat. The hat was basically the gimmick.
The whole gimmick.
The
right?
hat was the whole
And
gimmick.
then,
It was a magical hat, I
Tommy
swear.
Trainwreck would say things like, "What's up?" What was he had like a catchphrase?
Hello, Earth.
Yeah.
It's us, the Minutemen.
It's the tubular tactacular.
It was in fact, the Back to the Future hat, right? That you see.
Yes,
in that
it was
movie?
Marty McFly's hat. And that hat was awesome. One time I worked a ISW show, and I went to the top rope, right, and I was wearing that hat. This was at that point in time. I threw the hat up, it spun in air, and I, focused on the hat and karate chopped it. And when I karate chopped it, it flew like a helicopter onto a table in front of a fan, and I got a huge pop. It was amazing.
That's awesome. And just to clarify, when he said you were a cat, you didn't crawl down on all fours and stuff like that.
No. Basically, I was just kind of really realizing that I was insane. So, it's a slow progression of an insane person.
Weren't you like an anime type character?
I mean, yeah.
Was that mixing with the
guess
cat
if
one?
you looked at me, I was very animated.
It was the
between the cat and the futuristic guy. Like that's the.
it was the tape under the eye that reminds me of the anime. That's what kind of.
Yeah, I actually got that from Pinky Sanchez, believe it or not.
Right, your father.
Yeah, and then years later, it's funny that I started out in Beyond Wrestling, and then they dubbed me Sober Pinky.
I was going to say at one time you and Pinky Sanchez looked pretty much identical. You had that same. I would like to think that he had a Devin Blaze haircut. That's the way I looked at it.
Yeah, it was definitely a Devin Blaze haircut. I don't know about the other way around. But yeah, so at that point, yeah, I wore a cat hat and I had gauntlets that were fuzzy,
fuzzy.
But they also had a clock on it, so it was still Minutemen-esque.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But you were still kind of.
I was just going for the gusto.
You would lick yourself all the time randomly.
I don't remember that. No.
You jump around the ring all nimbly and pimbly.
That happened. I remember that. I was nimbly pimbly a good amount of the time, but from there I actually started. I just had this idea that like I didn't like what I was doing, and it didn't really feel like me. Like when I was out there, I had to try too hard
to be something
that I really wasn't, and then I kind of just went towards like more of a dark gimmick because I mean I'm an Undertaker fan.
Right.
Growing up. I've always loved dark gimmicks. Big fan of Muda as well, so face paint is a big one for me. Also Sting.
Yeah, you're a big Sting guy.
Listen, I'm not a huge Sting guy. Everyone gets it wrong because I have this Scorpio tattoo on my arm that they think I'm a huge Sting fan.
Well, how come every time I show up to your house, you drop down from the ceiling like you're coming down from the rafters?
Yeah, but that wasn't a baseball bat. It was a dildo.
Just pointed at me, and I'm out. I bounce like the NWO.
Spray it on you.
You do own a big black baseball bat, right?
Yeah, I do.
All right.
Yeah, slugger. But yeah, so I mean, even the Funny Man kind of started out slow. I basically,
I was gonna say you were a little clowny at first, right?
Yeah,
you kind of joking around. You had some
more of a jester.
Yeah, you were it was a jester, and you went darker and then full dark clown.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I'm at now.
Feeling real dark and clowny.
Yeah.
You had the jester hat, literally, right?
Literally had a jester hat. It was, my mom made it for me. I was like, Mom, I can't find a jester hat anywhere on the internet. She was like, don't worry, honey, we'll make that for you. I was like, whip that right up for me, Mom. We're going to be wearing that out in front of the fans. The boys will love it.
I remember we went to that Richard's fair. You know Richard's fair?
Yeah, I know
the
Richard.
King.
Yeah, the king of Richard.
And we were looking for a jester hat. It was a Monster Mac memory to me to you.
Yeah, and we never found one. None of them suited what I wanted.
They were all they were close, but not fully. You can't just go there and expect exactly what you want, though. I want a half red, half black.
If the Funny Man demands a peasant to whip up a hat for a few golden coins, I expect it done. Bottom line.
So we're going to bring it all the way back because when you first started, right, like everybody was dicking around in their backyards. Everybody did like backyard wrestling and stuff.
Absolutely.
And it turns out our friend, Chris Cruz, was just walking the streets, apparently, and seeing you and a bunch of your friends in one of the parks, right? Like
okay, so what happened was, and I actually wasn't there for the initial time. It was Tommy Trainwreck, as he was known then as Julius Payne or something like that,
Yep.
Or maybe even Christian Payne, right? And one of our friends, Jordan, and our other friend Nathan, and they were actually just wrestling over next in the Fall River area where Father Kelly Park is.
Okay.
You know what that is? All right, so they were wrestling, and Chris Cruz just doesn't even know them from a hole in the wall. It happens to drive by and see Tommy Trainwreck giving one of these kids a vertebraker on the ground. So the legend has it that Chris Cruz stops the car, runs out of the car, yells at them to stop, says, "You're going to kill him, put him down." Kind of gives them a quick lesson, like, listen here, kids, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gets them to go in the car, brings them to the Caroba, which was a professional wrestling training school in New Bedford, Massachusetts.
Right, you probably heard a million people on this podcast talk about the Caroba.
Yeah, so the famous Caroba. and they introduced him to Brickhouse Baker. And from there, he came back, Tommy Trainwreck came back and told me this wild story of this wrestler he met and how he went to wrestling training and how he learned all this crazy stuff. And I was like, man, what the hell are you talking about?
The one day I don't want to go to the park.
I was like, what are you talking about? I was at my house on AOL chat room, dude. I don't know. So basically...
Street name Young 4 Blaze.
Yeah, no, it's Young Blaze with a 4 instead of an A, dude. What is your problem? Listen, so yeah, then from there, it's basically all history. We started training at the Coroba together. Me and Tommy Trainwreck have basically since day one
Been a tag team?
Been a tag team. We started training together, and we've been wrestling ever since then, up until recently, in 2016.
Now, when it first started, right, when you went in, it turns out that did Cruz show you the Monster Max show, or did you bump into that yourself?
No, actually, how I heard about the Monster Max show is a funny way. Mike Montero, I guess he used to watch cable access in Fall River. I don't know, when he was like 11.
Yeah.
But so I've been friends with Mike Montero since I was like 5 years old. We've been going to the same school. We've just known each other, been best friends forever. And we used to just call each other on the phone and just talk about wrestling and different ridiculous things that we watched on TV. And he just called me one day and was like, listen, I watched these two guys. They're crazy. They're in masks, and they just watch Mike Awesome matches and make fun of them, and it's great.
I would like to think that these people just randomly are flipping through the channels and happen to see me there, and they're like, "What the hell?" and then actually watch it. So.
Absolutely, that's pretty funny, and I think that they do because it happens. So,
but like I always like that. It's funny to me because like you and Mike and like you guys had seen like the Monster Max show stuff before you even met us, like before we knew each other.
Yeah, I used to think you were a big star, buddy.
Turns out I'm just some other asshole, right?
You're just another asshole like me, pal.
But and we met. I think the first time we met, I was peeing.
Yeah, I was like, I should shake his hand, but he's just touched his dingling, so I'll just wait it out. We'll meet again, and I'll shake it that time.
I'm pretty sure. What was the phrase I said to you?
You big leagued me with your dung in your hand, pal.
Is that what I did?
Yeah, you big leagued me.
I'd shake your hand right now, but I'm holding my dick. Oh my god, that's ridiculous. But so you start training, you go to the, did you end up hitting up the Coroba and stuff, or?
Yeah, so I trained at the Coroba for about a year with Brickhouse Baker. And then from there, can't remember who I really started hitting it up with, but I think it might have been Chris Cruz. We might have started going to the top rope where Spike still was training at the time. So I trained with Spike for a little bit. Then he stopped training at the school altogether.
Right, yeah.
And from there, I actually started training with Bob Evans. Well, actually, before that, let me get this straight. Lethal Pro Wrestling was a school that had opened up at that time.
LPW, right?
LPW in Fall River. So
you can listen to the Lethal Paul podcast where he talks about how some kid broke in. And
that happened when I was
up like him. And
okay, well that happened. I was a security guard over there
at the show.
Yeah. This happened at night.
A terrible job.
This happened at night. I was a security guard for all the random jamokes. You know what I'm saying?
The shows. You were a security guard during the shows. You weren't like guarding the building at midnight.
Yeah. So I was a random jamoke. But yeah. So. At that point, I started training with Pride, which is a tag team. So that was actually really beneficial to my tag team career because it was Brian Nunes and Dan Freitas. Those two guys taught me and Tommy Trainwreck a lot about tag team wrestling when we were coming up. So that actually benefited us a whole bunch.
Now, didn't like you guys try to fade that you knew how to wrestle at first when you first started going?
Yes, we did. And then they had us do a whole bunch of things. And they realized that we kind of knew what we were doing, but a lot of our shit was just completely wrong. Right. They were like, oh, so, I mean, you know some basics, but nothing else. So they actually kind of started to like us. We grew on them, I guess. And we would just show up in $5. We would show up like 3 times a week. And we would just train for hours, and they really liked us, and they really started showing us a lot of tag team stuff and different aspects to the game, you know?
Didn't they see like a match or something, and then they started asking you guys like?
They did. They saw one of my backyard matches, and then he just comes over to me and says, "Hey, you." I'm like, "What's up?" Like, you know, typical Devin Blaze fashion.
Yo,
you know?
what's up?
Yo, what up? He's like, stand in the middle of the ring. do a moonsault. I'm like, what? Do a moonsault. So I do a moonsault, right? He's like, all right, get in the ring, get in the corner, run out, do a shooting star press. I'm like, what? Why are you asking this of me, sir? What? I'm still super green. Right? So I just run, bust out a shooting star press. He's like, I knew I seen you in that video. He's like, you know some cool flippy shit, but that's not what it's about.
I'm gonna teach you guys how to make your cute shit look good.
Yeah, and from there, he was actually, those guys were getting trained by Bob Evans at the time, and they kept telling us about their trainer.
They had trained with Bob for a while. Like when we went to Slam Tech, it was like Chris Venom and Dan and they were there like as like Bob's trainer guys, like
and Chris Venom and stuff would show up to the LPW training school all the time, and I would, we would train with him and like Nick Steele and stuff.
And I think Slam Tech closed, and then that's when LPW like that's when Pride started doing it. I think. Basically. I might be wrong.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. So from there, I started training with Bob Evans with one of my friends who used to wrestle. We're not actually friends anymore, but his name was Sean Sin when he wrestled. Real name Paul. Really cool kid at the time. At the time, he was the shit, man.
But
now, I don't know. But so we used to go and we wanted to train. We wanted to learn wrestling. We wanted to learn. We saw our eyes were kind of open to the bigger scheme of it, and we wanted to learn everything we could. And that step, basically for us, was Bob Evans. He was training out of the Top Rope School, and he was bringing in people. We were doing seminars. I did multiple Quackenbush seminars through things that he set up.
Yeah.
I'm not positive, but I think he might have set up the Delirious seminar, where a lot of ROH guys looks at us. And honestly, so meeting Bob Evans and training with Bob Evans was super beneficial early in my career.
Now, did Bob like you guys right away, or?
I mean, no, I don't think anyone really liked us right away. When we came in, we were all kind of black sheep. No one really knew who we were.
Right.
They didn't know where we came from.
You're doing a lot of shit.
We are doing a whole lot of shit in our matches. It's all really flashy. No, we're not credible at all. So it really took a while for us to grow on people. We really had to figure it out. We had to meet a lot of people. It definitely didn't click right away.
Right. So when do you stop working like indie shows?
Indie shows?
Like,
I was already working.
Yeah, I know during that time, but I'm saying like when's the first? Like, what was your first indie show? Do you remember?
Yeah, my first indie show was ACW, and it wasn't even the ACW you're thinking about. My first independent, it was just a random show that was promoted by
was it like
David
an adult
Cash.
Show?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, it was not. They used the same set as ACW, the other ACW.
Yes.
Like Davey did it at like a Boys and Girls Club or something like that.
I mean, I'm not clear on what it was. I mean, I have a terrible memory, but that was my first show, and I wrestled.
Trevor was your referee.
Yes, Trevor was my referee.
That's great.
Sweet afro on that boy.
I was in attendance for your first indie show. I didn't know that.
And I wrestled Julius Payne, a.k.a. Tommy Trainwreck.
Julius Payne. I remember him. Good guy.
The big guy. Julius.
Tommy Trainwreck. So you wrestled your buddy already.
Yep.
So I'm sure, you guys had some awesome stuff planned. Went pretty well.
Right? Awesome stuff.
I'm sure you guys had some stuff planned. In your mind, would you say it went pretty well?
For our first match, believe it or not, I was super, super nervous.
I can imagine.
And after the match, I mean, we didn't. The thing is, in our mind, we knew that we go out and we do flashy shit in the backyard all the time. Yeah. But we didn't really want to blow our loads here because we were first match, and I'm pretty sure Davey came up to us and kind of gave us the lowdown,
go fucking nuts.
I know what you guys do, but you guys should just chill out, just do some stuff. So we had a pretty solid match, pretty basic, and at the end, it kind of made me feel good because Brickhouse Baker came up to us and we were watching the match through one of our handheld cameras, and he was like, "Don't even bother watching that. It looked better in person." And I didn't really know anything about the business, so that made me feel really good.
Right? Yeah, for sure.
It made me want to stick around. It's that family aspect that you feel.
Yeah.
People that want to see you succeed.
Yeah. Some people.
Yeah, not everybody wants to see you succeed. I've learned that in my later years, but sometimes you just gotta find a way, despite everything, to just do it anyway.
So you guys start working more shows together. It's starting to become more credible. You start rolling the shows a lot with the hoods.
Yep. So
you're going to Maine a lot.
that's basically how we got our foot in the door. Was one time we wrestled the Hoods. Well, actually, it was me and Mike Montero. We wrestled the Hoods at a show where I almost fought Chuck Morris.
Okay.
Yeah. So Chuck Morris, that's a different story. But yeah, so do you want to hear the story of how I almost fought Chuck Morris? Okay, so at the time, I think MySpace was still a thing. And I wrote like some status on MySpace about this girl that I was dating at the time. I was like 16. And I don't even
lovey-dovey thing.
No, it was like something about my girlfriend annoying me or something like that. It wasn't even that bad. So we're at the show, and this is me and Mike Montero. We're actually facing the Hoods for the first time that night.
Okay.
And this is after the match. We had a pretty good match with them. They carried us through it. You know what I mean? Basic stuff. We were Green Boys. But so at the end of the...
Still went in, I'm sure, though.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys heard the story about Chuck Morris prior in that day almost getting beat up by Davey Cash because Davey Cash ordered a pizza to
We were at that show.
Yeah.
We were there in the locker room when both of these things happened.
You're right. I don't know why I'm saying this. But listen, let's recant the story.
We actually have a Monster Mac project that involves.
Okay. So all right, we're gonna leave that for the project. But all right. So he comes up to me, and apparently I had him on MySpace at the time, and he says to me, "If that was my daughter, I'd fucking kill you." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "You're a disrespectful little bastard." So I'm like, what did you just say to me, old man? I get super pissed, right? I'm like, I throw my bag at him, like, and it hits him in the face, and my bag is full of stuff.
Yeah.
And I just fucking, like, it was like a shot put. Like, I just swung that thing and hit him right in the face. Bang. And then I go after him, and Davey grabs me. And a word that rings out on that night was that I beat senior citizens down on the regular. I don't know why I said that. I was enraged. I didn't mean it. I don't beat senior citizens down on the regular. That was a lie that I said. But I wanted him to be afraid because he was a jerk for no reason.
Oh, man. Are you sure, though, that you don't beat
I'm positive. I do it irregularly.
Just out of the occasion.
Annually. You wouldn't call that regularly, would you?
I would not. But so then that night you wrestled the Hoods.
That night we wrestled the Hoods, and from there, me and Mike Montero, we kind of split up. We wanted to do our own things. I was singles for a while. Then from there,
you guys broke up and you were single for a while.
Yeah, we broke up and we wanted to see other people. So that's what I did.
You had a long-term relationship with Thomas Trainwreck.
Yeah, me and Tommy had a lot of history together. We had wrestled each other a bunch. We knew each other's styles well. We came up with a lot of good ideas together, and we decided it would probably be most beneficial for our careers, seeing as how we were basically the black sheeps of anybody's company at the time.
Right.
To kind of team up and, utilize both of our strengths to make one team credible enough to actually be bookable.
Right, to be booked, right?
You know what I mean?
That was what you were just going for. Please book us.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I was still learning a great deal at that time. Not a whole lot of experience. But yeah, so they basically took us on the road with them.
That
to
match
all
with the
types
Hoods is what basically got you guys booked.
Yeah, so we actually ended up getting that. Anyone that knows the story of us knows that we wrestled the Hoods.
Everywhere.
Yeah. And we, the thing is, we never really had the same match because we had such good chemistry and we would just bullshit so well that we could just sit in a van and just call whatever we wanted, and we would just go out there and do
what about this crazy ass idea?
Yeah, we would just come up with ideas, and we would watch a lot of tape, we would get ideas from a lot of people's stuff. Not saying we stole it, but we might have stole something. Yeah. We did modifications.
Well, you guys got that paid back because there's some people that steal your shit that are
absolutely
currently on television, right?
Yes, all right. I don't want to. I know that everything in wrestling's already been done, but I could have sworn I came up with this one move. That's all I'm gonna say. This one,
just this one specific move.
But I digress. Whatever's whatever. You can. It's fine.
Every young fella's got a balls out or something. Whatever that stands for.
Whatever young fella's balls. What are you speaking on?
Don't even worry about it.
So where did Monster Mac just go?
I think to drop a training number 2.
Whoa. All right, so it's just going to be a
Yeah, it's just
one-on-one.
gonna be a
This is
one-on-one
about to get
scenario.
seductive.
Yeah. Let's lean in real close together.
This is as close as we're getting.
So then you started working with the hoods a lot.
Yeah, so we went from working with the hoods basically in every company we could up until we got to Beyond Wrestling. Can I back up now a little bit?
Yeah, you can sit
Okay,
back
all
a
right,
little.
so cool. All right, so yeah, so up until we got into Beyond Wrestling, we basically worked the hoods just about everywhere. I mean,
Right,
we did.
yeah.
We worked other people. I mean, we worked you guys.
I was gonna say we worked
on and off.
We worked a bunch for
For a while.
There's a while there.
And we worked with other tag teams in the meantime, but our mainstays really was with the hoods, and
Right.
we brought that match in Beyond, and that actually was a hit when we first went there to a couple secret shows. You know, we wrestled a couple of times.
Yeah.
And they actually liked it. So, and I mean, I was all about it because Beyond Wrestling at the time was like this super crazy internet like craze
Sensation.
Yeah, at the time. So I was super stoked, and that definitely got my foot in the door for the next few years.
For you to make yourself more credible, right? To
Yeah,
be even more bookable.
yeah.
That's kind of the point, right?
So I want to tell you guys a story. You guys ready for a story?
I'm ready for a
From
story.
me? Do you want to know how deep tag team partners me and Tommy Trainwreck were?
I mean, yeah.
Okay, listen to this, my friend. Okay, so I've mentioned that me and Tommy Trainwreck are lifelong childhood friends. I've known him since probably the 5th grade.
Okay. So like 4 years ago.
Real funny, you jerk. But okay, so basically my whole life I've known him, and when we were young, okay, we were real trouble kids. Basically, fathers out of our lives at that time, not a real whole lot of direction. We were basically juvenile delinquents,
Right.
growing up.
Not basically. You guys were
Yeah,
juvenile delinquents.
we were juvenile delinquents growing up. We got charges, a lot of just random vandalism and just ridiculous things.
You guys are angry kids.
Yeah, just angry kids that just wanted to take it out on the world. So, me and Tommy
I feel
Trainwreck
you, homie. Whoop whoop.
were actually, because I was on probation, he was on probation at the same time. We both ended up getting put in a juvenile detention facility in the same place
Together.
at the same time together. This is a shoot.
Like that's how deep the tag team
This
goes.
is how deep it goes. When we were 14 years old, we were in Howland Detention Facility and the Brockton Y.
And then like several times after that separately.
and then a couple times after that separately. Since then, I've basically cleaned my act up.
Yeah. You just don't get caught anymore.
Yeah, but just saying, we have been through a lot, from breaking into the business together to being locked up together. Me and that kid are tight.
Like me and Mack, you know, like we grew up together. We lived together, all that stuff. We didn't go to jail together.
You know, that's a whole different bond.
It's a for sure. I bet, right?
Yeah, we were never cellmates, and so.
Well, I mean, it was a juvenile detention facility. There wasn't really cells.
No,
We were bunk mates then. So
Bunk.
So I wanted to tell this story about Maine, and I don't know if you remember it. Like, there was a point there we were going up to Maine on the regular and traveling with you guys. The first time we went up without, I feel like you didn't come.
No, I didn't come. That was for Pro Wrestling America. It was only you guys, and Tommy Trainwreck.
I have a Pro Wrestling America T-shirt.
You're the only one.
That was my payday for that.
They
That show,
didn't
gave it
pay
to
you. They
me.
just gave you the T-shirt and
I
said.
took a bottle of booze because I was pissed.
Because they said they were going to pay.
So
us.
why don't you describe the ring? Let's set this up.
The ring was a hybrid, half wood, half metal.
Half wood, half metal ring.
And not the way you're thinking, not like a metal frame and wood beams. No, it was like half a metal frame, half a wood frame. There was some metal beams. There was some wood beams.
Could not hit the ropes. That was what the promoter told us. Don't hit the ropes and limit your bumps.
So that's what you guys were dealing with. That was you guys and
We
Tommy
drove how many
Trainwreck.
hours for that?
5-hour
And,
drive.
and from what I know,
Lapaka was also advertised on their website,
yep.
and it was Lapaka USA. Well, it was,
no, it was Homeboy in a Lapaka suit.
It was Johnny Primer.
Johnny Primer,
in a,
right?
In a Lapaka suit.
Okay, so from as far as I was told, Tommy Trainwreck was wrestling Johnny Primer at
yep.
the time. This is a main guy. And for some reason, at some point in the match, Johnny Primer just starts shooting on him.
Yeah.
And just not taking anything and just fucking
not selling anything.
He's not selling anything, not taking anything, botching everything. And eventually, Tommy just gets out of the ring. And he's just what? What does he leave?
Walks away. Yeah, he just walks away.
He just leaves. He's like, I'm done with this.
They almost get to a fight in the locker room. They start saying there's going to be a code word if we stop fighting. So we think we're going to have to fight this whole locker room. And it was like me.
Mind you, I'm not
Monster
there.
Mack, Tommy Trainwreck. I feel like Trevor Crandrew
Probably
drove
Trevor.
up. I think Crandrew drove up.
Oh, Cran
Little
was there.
Steve. Just our random dudes that would like film shows for us.
And then after the whole fight went down and they decided to book Johnny Primer versus me in a hardcore match.
Later in the evening.
And then what happened? You took table?
I slammed him for a bump and he got all mad. He's like, "What the hell, dude? No bumps." So
No bumps, kid.
So later on, I had him suplex me through one of their bar stools, and it got all messed up.
So you went through the bar stool. So all right. So getting back on track. Basically, that was the first story that I heard before I
About
even
Maine.
went to Maine.
Yeah.
Before I even thought about going to Maine. Tommy Trainwreck's like, "Hey man, I went out to Maine. It was terrible. I had a terrible time." And I almost had to fight a guy. Do you want to come up to this other show? I got booked for this other show, IWA.
Through that show.
I was like, I don't know.
We did too. We all got booked for IWE from that show. And then we went up there and worked with guys a couple times.
Yeah, that was kind of the start of us starting to ride together and work shows together and stuff like that.
So we rode a Maine. It's Mack Attack, M1nute Men, and Road Boy Crandrew, who drove the whole way there.
Ye old road boy.
Ye old Road Boy Crandrew. And we share a hotel room, right?
Not to be confused with Rude Boy.
Yeah. Rude Boy from JCW, right?
Yeah, sure.
Rude Boy Gonzalez.
Okay, yeah, the guy who trained Shawn Michaels.
Yes, him.
Okay, so we're sharing a hotel room. We don't tell the clerk. I think it's like a chain hotel. We pull up and it's like this like rinky-dink mom and pop hotel.
Oh, yes. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So like we show up. I go to the desk. Oh yeah, I need a couple. Thanks for the key or whatever. They're like, you better not be sleeping with a bunch of people in there. We know you wrestlers are tricky. Like no joke.
You told them we were wrestlers?
No, they just
First mistake.
they just knew. They knew. We also were carrying like our gear bags and stuff. But I had my mask on. I'm sure that didn't help. So we're all in the room. We're sharing beds. People sleeping on the floor. I think somebody slept in the tub. But like Crandrew was sleeping across like three.
There's like 3 chairs that were just strategically placed to make like a tiny coffin-like bed.
He just slept in the middle
And
of
he
that.
slept like a corpse, so it made sense.
But that whole hotel room was decorated with cat knickknacks.
It was creepy as hell. That is one of the scariest experience, and I've had multiple scary experiences in a hotel, and I'll tell one of my stories after this about a hotel.
Yeah.
But this has to be one of the creepiest encounters I've ever had at a hotel. There was cat knickknacks everywhere. What was their deal?
And then the only thing that was not cat knickknack related was this tiny ass painting of a small clown. I mean, of a clown, a sad clown.
He was sad, all right, to be in Maine.
Just in the bathroom, just right there. And do you remember that night? Like, we all had a theory that they snuck into the room.
Yes, I remember
Because
it
when we
vividly.
Left, they like charged us extra money.
Yep.
Because there were more people in the room.
Yep, they somehow knew there was more people in the room, even though there was no one around. We went in the bathroom, right?
Right.
And wasn't the window open?
The window was open and the toilet paper and like everything was changed.
The toilet paper was changed. And everyone went to sleep that night and woke up and the toilet paper was changed. The window was open. And they were there. They were in there with us.
They could have killed us.
They were in there with us.
They murdered all of us.
That is like what you see in a horror movie, only we survived by dumb luck. They must have been like, too many guys, we won't make it, all right.
Yeah, they're going to wake up.
So they're like, oh, we'll just change the toilet paper for them. Maybe they won't be pissed. But then they still charge us extra, so now we're still pissed.
I don't know, dude. I couldn't get over that clown looking at my junk while I was pissing.
Just staring at you.
Well, that
He's
should have
so
been
sad.
motivation. Maybe the clown is sad because you have such a large, wiener that, like, he's sad about it. He's crying when he sees it. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
Mac, I can never be like you.
I turned a negative into a positive. I like it, brother.
So that was one of our last. No. I think one of our last trips up to Maine was when you wrestled. What's his name? Oh boy, old man.
Robbie Ellison, one
Robbie
of
Ellis.
the Canvas Man.
Yeah.
In one of his last matches.
At that time, you really fit that young boy Crusterio that he really
Absolutely. I had some bright Crusterior?
That's what he's saying, right? What? That's bad English.
That's not even.
It's not even words. Okay,
Crusterio.
yeah, moving on. Sorry, Mac. I love you, buddy, but we got to talk about.
Oh, but tell that other hotel story.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, this is probably the most horrifying hotel experience I've ever had. It was me, Tommy Trainwreck, and the student body, I think it was. So that's Nick Marchand and
Marchand.
Yeah, Marchands and Connor.
Yeah, Johnny Connor.
What Connor or something? Jammin' Jack Connor.
There it is.
Yeah. All right, so we're heading up to a show. It's UWA. They run out of New Jersey. So we go there, we work the show, and I think there's another show the next day. It's like a tournament. So we go there, we work the first show, and we stay at a hotel for the night so that we can work the show the next day and head home. And that night, so am I allowed to speak about any sort of illicit...
Yeah, you talk about anything you want.
Okay, cool. All right, so that night, me and Tommy Trainwreck, little known fact, we like marijuana. So we rolled up a blunt. We started recreationally. Obviously, we're not addicted to the shit.
This shit's like legal, man.
It's
you know
legal,
what I mean?
dude. It's legal. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what to tell you, but. Okay, so we opened up the window. We were real courteous about this shit.
Yeah.
We smoked a little bit, just a little
Ozium.
baby bit, out the window. I don't even smoke anymore. This was the past.
Right. Back in your childhood.
Back in my
days.
childhood days. But yeah, so we
Just
smoked a
laughing
little
about it.
bit out the window, and then all of a sudden we hear a knock on the door, and it sounds urgent. So we go to the door. Well, actually, not even we. I go to the door because Tommy's like closing the window and like putting it out and like,
Right.
shit, we're gonna get kicked out of the hotel. So I go over to the door. I open it up, and there's nobody there. So I automatically, the way my mind works, I'm like The Shining. Oh no,
Yeah.
We're gonna die. What's going on? The little fucking girls are out there. They're like, come play with us. So. Stop it, I'm getting flashbacks. All right, so I walk out, right? I look to my right. There's no one down the hallway. I look to my left. In the distance, I see a roughly 275-pound man wearing a gray, sweat-stained T-shirt and nothing else. And he's looking at me. And he's all the way down the hall. So I naturally am like, what the fuck?
Right.
Slam the door.
So he had no pants on?
He had nothing on but the gray T-shirt.
So you see his
Hanes
waggly
T-shirt.
bits dangling around?
Absolutely. He was nude, my friend, from the waist down. So I slammed the door shut.
He was knocking on your door?
I assume he was the one knocking on my
every
door.
Every door, I assume.
He was actually he was like outside another door with just a big smile on his face, like it was cool. Shit was cool or something. So yeah, like I said, I slammed the door. I turn around. I'm like, yo, there's a naked guy out there. Nick Marchand's like, what are you talking about?
And Jack Connor's like, I want to see a naked guy.
Yeah, I think he did say that, actually. He did say he wanted to see a naked guy, now that I recall. But Nick Marchand didn't believe me. So I'm like, dude, you have to. All right, go over here. And then as he goes to go to the door, right, we hear another knock. So he jumps back from the door. I'm like, oh, shit, the naked guy's back. I think I grabbed something, right? Like some sort of a weapon. I don't remember what it was, okay? But we open the door. I'm holding the weapon. And there's just one of the guys that works there, right?
Yeah.
One of the hotel guys is there. And he looks at me, his eyes are wide, and he says, hey, man, there's a naked guy over here. I'm like, yeah, man, I know. He knocked on my door. He's like, man, can you give me like a towel or something? I'm like, yeah, all right.
So the guy who works there came to you for help.
Don't ask me why. Do not ask me why. This man also knocked on my door to tell me there was a naked guy out there. He asked me for a towel. I give him a towel. He opens up the towel, right? And the naked guy just calmly walks over towards us now. He's calmly walking over towards... He was at the other end of the hallway, like, not that far, but not that close. He calmly walks towards us. The dude opens up the towel and is, like, trying to wrangle the naked guy with the towel open. And the guy just looks at me and says, hi. And I'm just like, dude, fuck you. And I just slammed the door and never opened it again for the rest of the night. I'm like,
Doesn't matter who knocks.
Yes, I think it was, like, Princeton, New Jersey, dude. Never again will I stay in a hotel there.
Princeton, New Jersey.
That's awesome. That was a good story. I'm glad we got to that, but we definitely need to get to that Robbie Ellis story after that.
Okay.
So,
What's...
he wrestled Robbie Ellis.
Story that he humped your face?
What are you trying? Yeah, he didn't hump my face. You know what? I got
You met
lucky.
the Crusteria.
No one.
Get all crusty with him.
Where do you want me to go with this Crusteria thing? I'm not.
Look how small that box is inside that
Tiny Cargill.
Tiny Cargill inside of a giant projection screen.
That's nice. But yeah, all right. So Robbie Ellis, I don't know what to say about the guy.
I don't know
you
why Boston Mac is.
Yeah,
really,
you really want to press
really
me about it?
harping on
Yeah,
it.
I'm pretty sure he paid to wrestle me a few times. I never got a confirmation on that. I don't want to slander the man's good name.
Should we ask Jamie?
Yeah, maybe. No, ask Eric Johnson from IWE.
The yeah man.
Yeah, yeah, man. So, you would have to ask him, but I'm not positive. But I wrestled him about 3 times at a bunch of different fair shows. And one time, we were calling a match, and he's like, I got the perfect cutoff for you, kid. I'm like, what is it, Robbie? He's like, I'm gonna powder you out. And then I'm going to look at the crowd and do my gyration like this. And he did like a full gyration for me. I'm like, oh, that's nice.
In case you didn't know what a gyration was.
That's
right?
Nice. Thank you. And then he says, you see the star on my tights? There's a star right directly where his
wang piece is.
Where his wang is. He says, you're going to come in and you're going to low blow me right there. And I'm like, all right. And that's about as far. From there, I was like,
and
okay.
You just punched him square in the dick.
Yep, just punch him square in the dick. I actually had a match with him where I punched him so many times he just kind of fell down and was just done. That was the end of the match.
That was the end of the, you just punched him into unconsciousness.
But I
remember being a kid and watching Robbie Ellis wrestle and thinking that he was so old that he was like going to die in the ring. The way he was selling, I thought it was like really going to die.
Wicked Robbie's never die.
And now, you know what I mean? He's still wrestling.
No, he's not still wrestling. He's retired. But
at that point,
he was still going, dude. He was giving me the sliced bread.
He did. He sliced bread the
and
shit
he was
out
like
of you.
70.
And by slice bread the shit out of you, I mean it was the slowest.
Yeah. Listen, guys, all respect to Robbie Ellis. Anyone at 70 years old that's throwing the sliced bread, you know, you got to give him props, man.
Right now, for sure.
It's not a game out here. I can't even throw the sliced bread.
Could give me a sliced bread. You know
I'm 25. I'm hurting already, you know?
Fuck a sliced bread.
I guess that's what the 80s does for you. Not a whole lot of bumps. Preserve your body.
Right, yeah, until you start wrestling kids, start making you do some stuff.
Yeah.
So, Monster Mac, is there any other matches you wanted to angrily yell at Blaze about?
I just want to talk about Robbie Ellis at all. I heard his name come up, so you know what I mean.
Are we done with that
yeah,
now?
we're done with that. You can move on. Carry on.
Yeah, man, it's your podcast. What are we talking about?
Yeah, you're gonna.
We're going more like to after that.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you.
Went up to Maine for a little bit.
He's switching on us, asking us a question.
Oh,
I want to ask you a question. Yeah.
Sure.
I have a few questions.
All right.
All right.
So you said I could swear on this podcast, right?
Yep.
You can't drop the C-bomb. Not.
Yes, you can. What are you talking
I won't.
about?
It's not allowed.
I don't want to. All right. You said I could talk about illicit substances, but can I talk about my illicit pump?
The penis pump?
No, I already said it's not about the penis pump. It's all about buys and tries, baby.
Whether
All right, we're
or
gonna
not
skip
you're
that.
buying what you want to try with your penis pump, dog, that has nothing to do with us, all right? I mean, if you want to talk about it on the Mack Cast, we're not going to be mad at you.
Shraney, you know me all too well.
Let me hear about the bispectral Torexes.
No, I don't want to talk about it anymore. He definitely got me not want to talk about that subject. Okay, so
I'm just saying they've been looking jacked. I wanted to talk about.
Can we talk about girls whose boobies I want to see?
Yeah, man, I'm down with that. Well, Mutsmack loves the ladies.
Real quick, can we get like a 60-second, like you name them and I'll say boobs or nope?
Boobs or no boobs. All right, so let's Monica Lewinsky.
Boobs.
Cher.
No boobs. No, definitely not.
No boobs, he says. Oh, I got nothing. That's the two girls that I know.
Come on, that's you only
I only
know
know two
Monica
chicks.
Lewinsky and Cher.
Mossback, hold on. I'm trying to think of somebody.
Give me the hard ones. I'm ready.
Um,
Anyone you mention, I'm gonna say boobs. This was just for me to be able to say boobs a bunch.
several times. You said no boobs a couple times. Shit. Sandy Starr.
No boobs. And wait a minute, what is she wearing?
Her wrestling gear.
No boobs.
No boobs, he says. Mossback, you got any?
No, dude. This
You feel awkward playing boobs and no boobs?
say yes, boobs to all.
Yeah. All right.
This is
So this
boobs,
is
right?
over. Now we can continue. Ask what we were talking about again.
You were traveling around in Maine. You tried out Maine a little bit.
Yeah. So from IWE, right? I'm just give you a little perspective where I went from IWE. From IWE, I got a few connections through the Hoods, who had previously worked for NWA on Fire for the Savoldis, who had previously worked for Vincent McMahon Sr. You like that?
To drop a name, or
Vincent
the
McMahon
Savoldis.
Sr., the Savoldis. But yeah, so the Hoods had actually previously worked for them and done a few tours for them out in Maine, and they dropped our names, and they were like, all right, sure, we'll get some young kids in here. And
Yeah.
we ended up working for NWA on Fire for a few years, and, it kind of built our fan base up out in Maine. It gave us a lot of great experiences. We ended up
They
wrestling.
got like TV stuff too, right?
Yeah, they had. We basically learned how to work TV from
Working
working
the hard
at
cam
NWA.
and stuff.
Yep. Who basically pioneered
right.
on how to work TV. you know?
right? Yeah.
Their ideas
They were
on
part
some
of that
things were a
television
little
boom.
funny, but
Of course, right?
they were very old school, super old school. They wanted to see you throw the quick fast suplex. And you know what? I obliged. I gave it to them.
To the actual Savoldis, he was suplex.
Yes. No, they could never
A
withstand
lot of
a suplex.
promo stuff. Did you ever do a lot of promo stuff?
Yeah, so honestly, they were constantly having us do promos every single show. There was some sort of angle that we were cutting a promo that was kind of honing our skills at that. A lot of character work that they had us do. We got to wrestle with a lot of great guys like Justin Carino, Fowler, who's in TNA now.
Edited a video that aired on NWA on Fire TV.
Yeah, did you?
The something street fight between you and the Hoods.
The Springvale Street Brawl.
Fight. Yeah, there it is.
That was a good match. What was the finish? I think we hit him with a thumbtack bat and then gave him the time bomb.
Yeah. It's a hell of a finish to a match.
We would always go above and beyond for our finishes for some reason.
It sounds accurate.
A lot of it was Tommy's idea. Don't be mad at me, guys.
I don't do too much, I promise. Please book me. Stop flexing at me while we're doing the podcast.
Oh, you don't like that? You said I
Do you
couldn't
wanna
talk about it.
We can
but-
talk about the pump.
You said I couldn't talk about it, but I'm showing it.
Do you want me to go back and cut boobies or no boobies out?
No, I want that. Why? You don't.
No, I'm asking you. It made Mossmack feel uncomfortable too. But we can leave boobs or no boobs in.
If it made Monster Mac feel uncomfortable, we'll cut it out.
Maybe I'll cut a couple names out.
Just bleep them.
Just bleep them. We're gonna bleep the names.
Just bleep the shits.
Right? Yeah. You're like, no, we're gonna throw a sound effect on there. We'll reverse the names. So you're working in Maine. You worked for NWA on Fire.
Yep.
You guys are picking up. You're starting to get booked like everywhere at that point.
Yeah.
That's the progression.
From there, we were just kind of trying to work everywhere. We were like booked every single weekend, kind of doing a lot of stuff in Maine. From working with the Savoldis, we actually started getting our faces out in New Jersey area because they started doing promotional things with like BWO that's still around. That's Body Slam Wrestling Organization. They did stuff with ECPW or EPW, one of those.
Some combination
out
of
in
letters.
New Jersey, yeah. So I started working with them, and we were doing joint shows with them, so we started getting booked for those shows, and that's where I met, I actually met Darius Carter from Beyond Wrestling way before I was in Beyond Wrestling, because we were on NWA on Fire together and BWL shows together at that time.
Yeah. Because he's a Jersey cat, right?
Yeah, so he's from Jersey. So that's basically his stomping ground. So when I went out there, he was basically the guy out there. And, it really got my foot out there. Got me in a lot of companies.
Get your foot out there, get your name in the door.
Yeah. You know what I mean, boy.
So you guys start working on the reg. You started talking about Darius. Let's talk about the Crusade.
Okay.
You guys go into Beyond. You're just the Minutemen, right? You're just doing...
Yep, so we go in when we first start in Beyond, we're baby faces. We're
just
loved.
happy to be alive.
We're loved by the people.
Well, you're working in Providence, too. You guys, the secret shows were out of the Chop Shop, which is where...
Yeah, so a lot of the fans were the same fans that were going to RWA shows, so we were actually previously known.
Yeah.
So they basically, we got a warm welcome, and I mean, it helped that we knew a couple of guys that were working at Beyond at the time. It helped that Drew was a super cool guy. He really wanted to give us a shot, so we did our babyface thing there for him at Beyond.
Is that the one pant leg, pink and black?
Yeah. And then from there, one day he just came to us and said, listen, guys, I have this idea for you. We had I think it was right after having a match against the Garden State Gods, which is Eric Corvus and Mike Quest, whom I actually used to watch all the time in hybrid wrestling, so it was a super cool time for me to be able to wrestle him. I've actually had a couple of cool dream matches, but so it was really fun working him. So we had a really good match, and Drew kind of came up with the idea that maybe we should turn heel and join the Crusade, and the Crusade being Darius Carter and TJ Marconi. And it turned out to be a really good step for our career. It actually helped me come into my own, you know what I mean? I was already kind of doing the funny man at RWA, kind of just prototyping it. But
you
once
had a triangle.
Yeah, it was a very rough draft. I was trying what I was trying, but then from there, it really opened the doors for me to really come into my own and create my character and be who I really am.
The Crusade, they used the anonymous masks. Is that where that came from?
Yeah, so we use Guy Fawkes masks.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's pretty symbolic. It's kind of, if you think about it, people looked at us like the bad guys. If you look at what we were really out for, it's not really that bad.
Don't sit here and try to sell yourself as a babyface to me, you son of a bitch.
All I'm saying is that we were against tyrants in the office, in the professional wrestling business.
You just said Drew was awesome.
He is.
So what do you mean tyrants?
He has his days.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's a little tyrannical. Sometimes he's pretty cool.
Yeah. So you were fighting against the days that he was tyrannical.
Yeah, and a lot of the golden boys of Beyond Wrestling. We weren't so much fighting against Drew as we were against the golden boys who were thought they were unstoppable, untouchable, the top guys of the company.
Right.
That's who our sights were basically on, to prove that it doesn't have to be these top-of-the-card guys to be true talent. Because we were some of the most talented guys on the show.
So how did it start? How did the Crusade start? Because, you guys showed a little more true colors, turned heel. How did you end up teaming up with TJ and Darius? And I always forget that other guy's name.
Oh, Anthony Gangone.
That guy.
All right, so Gangone came later. But yeah, so Beyond Wrestling, it's full of incredible wrestlers. So we basically
from all over the country. Yeah,
from all over the country. Everyone there is amazing. You know what I mean?
Hold up. We're talking about Beyond. It made me think about it. We had Buddy Romano on the podcast.
Yeah.
A few episodes ago, maybe 10 episodes ago.
Okay.
He hates Beyond, has a personal beef with Drew.
Why?
Something about a baseball game. Go back to the podcast and listen to it.
Okay.
But he talked about the match you guys had at Shikara. And about how you guys ate
What did he say?
That you guys were selfish and you ate up all the time and were just out there to get yourselves over.
Okay, so I have one thing to say. If I had one rebuttal to that.
Now, we're just going to go talk about a quick overview. Shikara, you guys had a tryout match.
Well, what
or
if
whatever.
I forget this super
Oh, yeah,
sassy
say it,
thing?
and then I'll go back.
Listen to me, buddy Romano. If there's one thing that I have to say about what you think happened that night, it's that pay attention to how time works. It weeded you out. The people that you think stole the limelight were really just the people that were trying their best. And that's what we did. And if you notice, we still try to this day, and that's why we're still involved in the business, and you're just a Facebook keyboard warrior who's bitter. You could have tried, but you didn't. Bottom line.
Okay.
Okay, now let's continue.
Yeah, so back to Beyond and how you guys created the Crusade.
Okay, so, like I said, Beyond Wrestling is full of incredibly talented wrestlers from all over the world, so the way that we saw it was, what better way to even our odds with this incredible talent than to team up and bring all of our talent together. Drew came up with the idea, and basically one night, I think it was during a promo or a pull apart or something like that, we came out, it was me and Tommy, we were wearing Beyond Wrestling hoodies, and we were wearing Guy Fawkes masks, and we just walked through the crowd, and we got up on the apron. And from there, everyone was just like, it was silent. No one knew who would
What was
basically.
going on, yeah.
No one had any idea what was going on. And then when we took the masks off, everyone was literally like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I mean, it was a cool feeling because, like, no one really expected it. That's always a good feeling when you really work them, you know?
Yeah, you get it over.
Yeah, when you get it over, it's like probably the best feeling in the world. It's better than sex, so that's why wrestlers do what they do. When you can get it over with the crowd, that's what the best feeling you can get. So that's what we got from that. And the boos were unanimous. And Darius was instrumental in helping get us over to that next level because him on the mic is money.
They hate him, yeah.
They hate him. He is such a gutturally disgusting human being in real life. And he's such a good worker in wrestling. I love him personally.
Right.
Everything he says to me is hilarious.
Yeah.
No matter what he does, no matter what he says.
Every interaction I've had with that dude
it's
was
hilarious.
Was humorous.
But not everyone thinks that.
Right.
So basically, he was instrumental in getting us to the next level and, also instrumental in getting us unbooked. But, that's a different story. Right. He's just a very fierce personality.
Right.
So that helped bring that out in us, and it helped bring out ideas in us. And we also, TJ Marconi had a lot of good ideas, and his girlfriend, Brooke Daniels, actually edited a lot of our stuff for us.
Like the promo work.
Yeah,
and stuff?
A lot of the promos that we were pumping out was all her. And that really helped get us over. So, I mean, it was a slow progress, but we kind of scratched and clawed our way to this level. You know what I mean?
You guys had, like, a great run as a team. Like, you went out there and you guys won, like...
Oh, I'm
like
pretty sure
year,
it's
right?
like 12-0, and we don't wrestle there anymore, so it just stands at 12-0. Not that matters, but
right.
We were hugely successful.
You guys are beating everyone
at Beyond Wrestling. Yeah.
I think you might be the only person that's ever beat both Monster Macks.
Yeah, so I've beaten you, Monster Mack, and I've also beaten Monster Mack from the Hit Squad. So, Monster Mack. Okay, I'm sorry. So,
not my house.
It may not mean anything to you guys listening, but that means a whole world to me. That means that I basically pulled some, like, Jet Li and the One shit and defeated multiple versions of the same guy.
You text me in the middle of the night to tell me about how excited you were that you're like, yo, I just realized it. I think I'm the only person ever to beat both Monster Macks.
It blew my mind. I was on a different level from that day forward, ready to take on all comers.
That's great. Come on.
I think Joey Styles said you had the craziest 8-man tag match he's ever seen.
Yeah, he actually did say that.
Like,
Before
how
he
cool
was
is that,
hugely
man?
discredited.
Oh, man, yeah.
And that was
He
horrible.
didn't even say the word.
But he did say what he did say. I don't know what he said, but what he did say was that was one of the craziest 8-man matches. And that was probably one of the craziest 8-man matches I've ever been in my whole life. And I loved it. It's probably one of my favorite matches of my career. So I was hugely humbled by the fact that he would say that. I've always watched ECW, and been a big fan of Joey Styles. He's the man, So to have him say that is just ridiculous.
You were hugely humbled by it. But when Mick Foley said to you that you had like a really good character or something like that. You like when you were talking to me about it, you were so flippant about it. Like, I don't give a shit. I don't even like Mick Foley. I'm like, what?
Why would you tell that story on the podcast?
It's true, and it always pissed me off.
This isn't the lie detector test. Don't be telling people this. Yeah, all right. I said a little disrespectful thing.
Yeah.
I didn't think anyone would ever hear it, ever. But here it is. It's all laid out on the table. Yes. Here's one thing about me, and you may think I'm a dickhead for it, and a lot of people probably do. But
Blackheart loves it.
Blackheart loves it. But when I meet these stars, I try not to put them on a pedestal.
Right.
Because I'm in the same locker room with them. I want them to show me the same professional courtesy that I show them.
I always feel it's weird when dudes take pictures.
Yeah, you
with,
know,
like,
you'll
the
never
names that are
see
in the locker room. It's
you'll
so
never
strange.
see me take a photo with a name.
Right.
Like
maybe I don't know. It's strange. It would have to be like Vince.
I mean, yeah, if it was like Vince McMahon, sure.
I'd probably take a picture with
But
him.
I'm not saying I'm too good to do it.
Right.
I'm just saying if I'm in the locker room with them, I'm not going to take a photo with them because I don't want them to look at me like I'm just, like I'm just a mark.
Right.
You know what I mean? And not to say that that's what they would, but you never know who you're talking to. You know what I mean? So I just like to keep it cool. I keep to myself. I you know what I mean? I'm friendly in the locker room. I show them the same courteous respect. I treat them as a peer. I don't ask them for anything I wouldn't ask anyone else for. I don't ask them to post for
Yo,
photos
man, you
with
got
me.
some tape?
Yeah, exactly. So I just like to treat them like as my peer instead of like. But not to say that Mick Foley is my peer because he is way above me, and I am a peon to him.
Yeah.
But I don't try to get overly excited about things that people say about me because I know it's really only the work that I decide to put in that really makes a difference. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks.
Boom. That's knowledge dropped right there.
That's a little knowledge dropped, and that is the reason why I am the way I am. Because I only have myself to prove it to, and I appreciate your kind words, but that's what they are in the end.
This mean nothing to you. That's what you just said. I appreciate the kind words, but suck it.
Slow.
So you were talking about Darius and how he was instrumental in getting guys unbooked.
Oh, God.
So how you guys had a run out there. You were killing teams. You were winning, beating everyone.
Yep.
Joey Styles said this great thing about you guys.
Yep.
And then the Crusade is just gone.
Yep.
What happened?
Well, I mean, it was really a mixture of things. It was almost a long time coming. If you really want to know, you want me to lay it all on the line for you.
That's on you, man. You know what I mean?
I'm going to let you know. I'm going to let you know
I'm sure people are curious.
How things were perceived. We were on our run, and there were a couple of times in the matches where Darius got a little stiff. There were a couple of people that said something about it. Darius is just a snug worker. That's just who he is. I mean, I've been in the ring with him. I understand the way he is. I know he is very snug. He takes himself very seriously.
Right.
He takes his craft very seriously. So, yeah, he's actually very snug. And a couple of guys really took that the wrong way because, honestly, when Darius is the character the way he is and he seems so disrespectful and then he's super snug with you and maybe something happens and you get a little hurt,
you just think he's an
you're
asshole.
gonna think it's personal, but it's really not. So, word is that people were getting hurt in a couple of the matches. And then in the last match that we had that was really the final nail in the coffin was us against Team Alpha 1. In which Space Monkey ended up getting hurt. Something to do. I don't even know if this was Darius that did this, but I know Anthony Gangone supposedly hit him with a knee. And then my partner hit him with a stiff kick, which I asked my partner, and my partner said that he did hit him with a stiff kick. And, I ask him all the time, I'm like, come on, guy, you got to lighten up, dude.
Yeah.
You can't be doing this shit to people. These people have, like, families and jobs and shit they got to go to. There's no reason to stiff people because of one thing gets messed up in your match, buddy.
No need to kick him in the neck.
So, I can't say it goes either way. Maybe they deserved it, but I don't think that I deserved it.
I didn't deserve it.
Yeah, no. See,
I've received a few of them.
Tommy Trainwreck has
kicks.
put the shit on quite a few people, and I personally, I'm not trying to, I'm just going to say it. I'm guilty by association.
Right.
I'm just the guy that's in there, and I'm a mediator.
I have 100% never been stiffed by you.
Yes.
Ever. To the point where it was hurt. Or you know what I mean? Like you reverse.
Except for that one
yeah,
time
you reverse
I gave you that reverse
me.
DDT on your neck.
Reverse DDT'd me for real, and then looked down at me and went, "That must have hurt."
Stating the obvious.
Oh, I was so pissed.
But yeah, so a mixture of that and kind of like locker room antics, and then a little bit of heat, I'd say, mixed in there. Drew kind of just was all set. Although I've spoken with him a couple times, and he is open to having us come down.
And by us, you mean just you now?
Yeah, now it's just me. I did speak with him when I was still teaming with Tommy, but
Thomas.
I did tell him that I am going to be doing some single stuff. I've been in some talks with him, so hopefully I pop back up, I can only cross my fingers. My favorite times in wrestling was at Beyond Wrestling. I mean, the crowd, the experience was like second to none. I really hold no heat towards anybody. I feel bad what happened, and I really...
Right, and you kind of were grouped in... Because the whole group stopped getting used.
Yeah, exactly. Not just like two guys or something like
yeah.
that. And I mean, if you want to be honest, Drew and Darius kind of had a little bit of friction.
Right, I'm sure.
Underlying friction the whole time. Due to just Darius being Darius,
right.
He can't help himself. And
he's a madman.
And Drew at some point was just kind of done with it, so we all kind of got unbooked for it.
And it's just a funny way to put that. So was Tommy being stiff and kind of unsafe part of the reason why you've separated yourself from the tag team scenario, or...
A little bit. I mean, I've honestly always been able to deal with it because he's not stiffing me.
Right, yeah. All you got to do is listen to people complain. You don't have to actually get kicked in the neck.
No. Trust me, you've been there. Countless times I've been hey, man, chill out, buddy.
I've seen you straight yell at him.
Yeah, I've straight up yelled at him before. Anyone that's ever been in a locker room with us has probably seen us bicker. We're like, we're like brothers,
Right, yeah, me and him all the time.
So... I would tell him, you need to lighten up. But honestly, I wouldn't say that really affected us not teaming anymore. It was more like personal issues and things that really can't be ignored.
Yeah.
He just needs to get his shit together. He's got a family too. I don't have a kid. I don't have a wife. He has both, and he's younger than me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got stuff that he's gonna deal with right now.
Right, and he needs to take care of that stuff
he
first.
just needs to take care of it, and that's the bottom line. And in the meantime, I'm just gonna continue to try and progress in my craft, do what I do, try to get better. Basically, tried to transform myself. I've been in the gym 5 days a week,
getting them gains.
I cut all my hair
this
off.
This is where you
grew
can
a
talk
big
about
beard.
having a pump. What about your pump?
Yeah, so my pump is completely insane. I'm not where I want to be yet, but definitely on my way.
What's your daily workout look like?
My daily workout? What do you mean? I do a different body part, or sometimes I mix and match body parts. Like, I did like chest and tris the other day. Some incline presses. I did some incline flies. What else did I do? Some low cable scoops. I think I did a superset of some push-ups with some dips.
I was on the Devin Blaze workout routine for like 2 weeks. I made it, brother. I did it for them 2 weeks. It was awesome.
What happened after the 2 weeks?
I got my pump on.
You graduated from my school in 2 weeks, and trainee still
felt
hasn't
swole.
graduated from the Muscle Mack training school.
Hey, man, you watch your mouth. One day, fingers crossed. So what are the plans for Devin Blaze in the future? As a solo artist?
Well, I really hope to just, move away. Just move to Hollywood and become a stunt actor. Grow my beard out.
You should talk to, what's his name? Kruger.
Yeah, someone in the biz?
Kruger. You know someone in the biz, too. The old Krugs.
Oh, Big Krugs.
Big
No,
Krugs.
all right, so... if
Choke his girlfriend in the rain, Krugs.
It was in the rain.
In the rain.
That's what made it sexy.
And you... Trainwreck and JT Dunn being shirtless in the rain. Also
That definitely
made it sexy.
added to it. There was an ambiance
photo
of
of that.
sexy.
I have that photo still somewhere. I think
It
it's in
was
my
definitely
email.
an ambience of sexy. But yeah, so my future plans is, I just want to really get back to the grind. I was in a really good spot when I left. Let's talk about my car crash.
Yeah, man. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, so all right.
It's been a quick minute.
So everything was going great. I was wrestling
Chaotic.
for Chaotic. I was wrestling for Blitzkrieg, Limitless. Really a bunch of good companies that were around, that are still around. XWA, all that stuff. And we were teaming, and we were getting a really good push in all the companies that we were at, and we were actually in a really good spot. And then January 24th or something like that, I think it was January 24th, on my way to work at like 5 a.m., I was actually... what street is that? Charles Street in Fall River.
Yep.
Driving down that, took a wide left turn, and it was really dark, and I crashed into the back of a pickup truck.
And you
Totaled my car.
totaled your car.
Destroyed. I wasn't wearing a seatbelt. I know, I'm an idiot. Anyone listening to this, don't talk shit.
Yo, I seen the picture of your car, and the right, what was it? The driver's side. It was the
passenger
side was super smashed, and the right side, the driver's side windshield was cracked. And I was like, how does that get cracked when one side of the car is real messed up and the other side of the car is fine?
Well, I'll tell you, my boy.
Then I seen the picture of your car on your head doing it. I was like, oh, that's what cracked the window.
Yep.
Head first, right into the windshield.
So I was driving. It was really early in the morning. I wasn't paying attention. I'm a dumbass. Wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Crashed into the back of a parked truck. The bed of a pickup truck. Totally can opener the whole passenger side of my car. My head smashed off the windshield. I was completely concussed. Hurt my shoulder. Re-hurt my shoulder because I actually injured my shoulder. Not the rotator cuff, but like basically the bicep shoulder insertion point. So I hurt
Sexy.
that. Yeah, wrestling the insertion point. You like that?
I did.
I have a few of those.
Implications.
But yeah, so I actually heard him wrestling the Hit Squad, where it was the Hit Squad, Homicide, B-Boy, and Eddie Kingston. So I took a high German suplex, and I actually hurt my shoulder then. And then after I crashed my car, I re-hurt my shoulder. So not only was I concussed, but my old prior shoulder injury was re-injured. And I had to take like 3-4 months off. And that brings us basically to where we are now.
Yeah. Where you smashed your whole head up into pieces.
Yeah, I just wasn't. Basically, it was one of the scariest moments of my life because not even the crashing, because I've been in scarier car accidents than that. But,
Right.
I mean, it was still pretty scary.
The scenario afterwards,
I was
right,
driving
covered
like
in
45,
blood.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was covered in my own blood, but that was kind of sexy, too.
A little bit. Dude, the first thing, when I first seen you, I asked you, I was like, when you were bleeding, at any point, did you just stare at yourself in like the mirror in your phone as you just bled? And you were like, how did you know?
Yeah, well, when I tried to, I got blood all over my phone. I was like, damn, I'm about to break it with my own blood, my own juices. But yeah, so I crashed my car, it split my head open, and the doctor told me, this is what the emergency room doctor told me. I told him I wrestled. He said, you can't suffer another concussion for another year. Like, you cannot suffer any more brain damage. And I was like, wow, but I'm a wrestler.
Yeah, but
this man has no clue that I'm a professional wrestler. I don't think I told him. Yeah, so he's just telling me this, and he has no clue about any prior concussions I may have had, which is 1 million.
Probably, yeah, at least.
And he has no idea what I do. So that was scary to me because literally, if he thought just from that one I shouldn't do anything for a year. What if he knew about everything else? What am I really at risk for, you know? So I was kind of scared. I needed to rehab my shoulder, definitely, and I needed to take time off. I needed to make sure that I was good to go because for the first few weeks, I was actually feeling some side effects. I was getting dizzy spells, nausea, all types of stuff.
I've got the vipers.
Yeah.
You fall right over.
I was poisoned by my constituents. Yeah, so it was terrible, and I was like, "Wow, maybe wrestling won't be a thing for me anymore." Like it was scary. And
there was a point where you were saying that, like,
yeah, that's not what I want in life. Really isn't. I wasn't really happy not being involved in wrestling. So
that kind of brings you to now, making you come back.
Yeah, I'm making my comeback right now.
And it must have been rough too, because all your boys are into wrestling. So that time where you were on injury. They're all off doing their shows, and did you really like?
I don't have any friends.
No, okay. In that case,
didn't worry me at all.
Yeah, you had no problems with it.
Did you? So you said you were like on the verge of not sure if you could actually do it anymore.
Yeah.
When did that start turning around? Like, you start feeling better? You definitely were hitting the gym.
So it was like maybe a couple months ago. Well, the thing is, I remember I didn't cancel one booking. There was one book. I canceled all of my bookings, but there was one booking that I had forgot to cancel.
Okay.
And they kept promoting.
And they started. It was Lucky Pro Wrestling, and I forgot to cancel with them, and they just started promoting me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. And I thought to myself, I was like, man, I should really just message this guy and be like, nah, because my plan was to come back in like June. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'll message this guy and just be like, oh, I can't do it. I have my car accident.
Yeah.
But then after a while in the gym and I started feeling normal and like things were fine, I was like, I don't really want to spend too much time out of the ring. I don't want to get rusty. I just want to wrestle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in the end, I just talked myself into it. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to say a damn word. I'm going to show up to the show. I'm going to wrestle it. It's going to be the last time I ever wrestle with Tommy. He needs to go do his own thing. I need to go do my own thing. And that's that.
So it was.
I'm very spontaneous, Monster Mac. Okay.
Like, we don't know this.
At the time, did Tommy know it would be his last match with tagging with you guys?
I sent him a message.
Was it afterwards or before?
Before.
I see. Did you guys have like a special moment in the ring? One final goodbye.
I was
shed
gonna
some
hug him, but
tears.
he was really sweaty. He was very sweaty, and I didn't want to.
So you passed on it.
Yeah, because the whole beginning of my career, all I can remember is him not wearing a singlet and just having no shirt on, and his whole chest getting super sweaty, and him like hugging me and stuff, like because we did like the pretty boy gimmick, and just like feeling it all slimy on my chest and just wanting to throw up. So I just kind of didn't want to do it. You know?
Yeah, I totally understand. He's a super sweaty dude. So you're making your comeback now. I seen you at Top Rope. You did LPW. What's your next? What kind of dates you got coming up?
So far, I have none confirmed. I actually want to chill. I know that I've been in contact with Blitzkrieg and Chaotic. No dates confirmed though.
Right.
Next couple shows are booked as far as I know. So yeah, it's basically out in the open. So if anyone's listening and wants to book me, shoot me a message, guy.
Yeah. Throw his Devin Blaze on Facebook.
Yeah, the funny
Young
man.
4 Blaze on AIM.
Don't hit me up on AIM. I only use it twice a week.
That's all. Still. Yeah, man. I really appreciate you coming down. Tell some funny ass stories. I cried at one point because I was laughing so hard.
Dude,
I don't even remember what the hell we talked about.
Can't remember it now, but we'll listen back and cry all over again.
I'm pissed that you guys convinced me to do this. I don't want to do this ever again.
Dude, I
had a terrible time.
You don't have to do it no longer, dude. We'll stop here. It's cool.
But you guys love me though?
Oh, you know we do.
Do you think that everyone listening should love me?
I mean, not everyone, but probably there's some people out there that most likely hate you.
They're like, oh, that son of a bitch.
Dude, I love you, brother. And I got a training school with the Monster Mac training school. Stop by, man. I might be a good contender for a training in there. No? All right.
I think you stopped by like 1, 2, maybe 9 times. I don't know.
Probably. You know something? You guys are funny, and I just will induct you into the Funny Hall of Fame.
Word.
If you guys want to be in the FWO when I started up the Funny World Order, you guys can also be a part of that.
Word. We're in the Turtles in Time. We're in the Funny World Order.
If there's a free T-shirt, I'm down, brother.
There's gonna be a free T-shirt. It's one half of my face. Legit Fit Designs. They made it for me. Thanks, Jamie.
Shout out to James.
Yeah, James Violette.
Voldemort. I see all these people's names, right? And then I forget them and I make up a fake name for him in my head.
That's handy.
So he's Jamie Voltaire to me.
Yeah, for some reason, once I see someone's name, I can never forget it. It's scary.
Terrifying.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. So you guys want to talk about how I have like these powers?
What kind?
Like, all right, so did I tell you about how like when I think about stuff, bad stuff happens to people?
Have you told me about that? Yeah,
Yes.
like 1,000,000 times.
I got these Dark Scorpio powers, man.
You tell me all the time, dude. And you know what I tell you? I don't believe in any of that bullshit.
Oh my god, not even astrology or nothing?
Like astrology or astronomy?
What's the difference?
One's real and one's made up.
I like the fake one.
Most people do.
I believe in the Chinese zodiac. I'm the boar.
Oh, that's awesome. Yo, I'm serious. Look this up. I'm the GOAT. It says I'm most compatible with boars.
Yeah, you guys.
Yeah.
All right, I hate you both. On that note, I'm ending the Mack Cast.
Oh, goodbye.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We're back, baby, and we're going to keep on rolling.
We're going to tell them that this is the end of the Mack Cast. That way, when there's another new episode, everybody's like, oh, diggity damn, the Mack Cast is back.
Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
What a terrible ending.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, everybody have a good night. Thank you for listening. I'm training number 1. These two J Brones are insane. Have a good night.
What's the name? Monster Man.
.net.